Time, Wednesday night. We now are 9 p.m. Eastern going on CBS Sports Radio, not 10. The time zone changes with Arizona. We don't move, but everybody else moves around us. 9 p.m. Eastern from now on for the rest of the year. We are on CBS Sports Radio. So get ready. We are T-minus 13 minutes away, and we're going to do start, sit, waiver wire, trade, you name it. Q&A, just us until we go on. You and me. Let's go. Well, kill the intro. I gotta fix that. I can do the intro for you. Ready? Top 5 running back. The Fantasy Football Show with Smitty. I don't know what the hell happened to my intro video. What's going on? Daryl, what's going on? Ertz, my ball, Zach Ertz, Jeremy W, DJ, Farrell, Steven, Ugly, what is up, guys? Excited to have you here as usual, per usual, every single Wednesday. It's you and I. It's I and you. And we talk fantasy football, start, bench, trade, everything, news, notes, Q&A. I had my fun. If you watched my live last night, I went and had my White Castle experience, first White Castle experience in the restaurant, or drove through the drive-thru, and I ate 4 burgers, 2 chicken sliders, and 1 breakfast, all for you, so you would know how I felt about White Castle, and I gave you my honest opinion. The God's honest truth is the burgers are good. They're really good. They're kind of like I remember when I was a kid growing up. But I want to say In-N-Out's better. And I don't know that I'm going to wait in a big old long line for White Castle. I'll go back. Very greasy. But I enjoyed it. I'm glad I tried it. It was kind of fun waiting in line, doing a live, talking to all of you. But they finally opened up a White Castle here in Scottsdale, Arizona. So I tried it out last night on my live. Watch it if you haven't. It was fun times. Time, the show change is at 9 p.m. now. Yep, Doobie, I already mentioned that. It's right on the screen too. Arizona doesn't move, so nothing's changed for me. But my time, 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Arizona time is when I go on the show. And so that used to be 10 p.m. Eastern. Now, with the time zone, Eastern has moved. And so Eastern time for me for the show is now 9 p.m. Eastern. So, and if you're in California, let's say, or Oregon, wherever, you now watch and listen to the show at 6 p.m. instead of 7. So it's weird. It's weird how it affects me more than it affects anybody. And I don't do anything. I don't move. I sit right here in my little time zone world where we don't participate in daylight savings, and everybody else screws around with us. It's crazy. What's up, guys? 10 minutes and counting until we go live on CBS Sports Radio, 1580 The Fanatic, as we do every single Wednesday night. And we're going to talk with Russ Bliss. We're going to talk about who to start, who to sit, who's hurt, maybe some waiver wire grabs, even though a lot of your waivers have already been processed. We're going to talk about all that good stuff. Robbie Anderson or Larry Fitzgerald, Jordan Matthews, ESPN PPR Flex. Probably Anderson, but he clearly disappointed some people last week. I wouldn't blame you if you stayed away from him. But out of those options, I think Fitz is okay, but I think Robbie Anderson still has enough upside that I'd roll with him. But you might have. Do you have Pascal on your waiver wire? What's up, Wesley? If Pascal's there, I like Pascal a lot. I liked him last week. I talked about him a ton. So pick him up if he's there. And I think that might be your best option if he is, because I think he could produce really, really good numbers. Let me just save this real quick here on YouTube. Let me get into some news and notes. Tyreek Hill or Zeke rest of season. I go Zeke, man. No way I'm taking... I like Hill a lot, but Zeke's a top 4 pick to me. Top 4. I like Tyreek a lot. I shouldn't say no way, but I would draft Zeke Elliott 10 times out of 10 times over Hill. Hill's still first-round material, though. But I'm just saying, That question, you need to get, if you're doing like a trade, you need to get more if you're trading Zeke away. Zeke has got top 4 overall value. Would you start Lat Murray, says Posner. Posner, that depends on who you have. I certainly would consider it. I think he's got standalone value, but are you talking between like Montgomery and Singletary? Then you start one of those bad boys over Lat Murray. If you're talking about Breda, then you have yourself a discussion on your hands, because then you could argue either one of those. Murray has standalone value, and Kamara could get ease back in. I think he'll still have a big workload, but he could definitely get ease back in. And thank you for the super chat. Unleash the Mahomes. I agree, Wesley. Unleash him like the Kraken he is. Let him cast down rain of touchdown on thy team, Wesley, in week 10. Let him cast down victory upon thy shoulders as you march into the night of week 10. The night that is week 10, as you dominate, as Mahomes comes back to toss touchdown pass after touchdown pass. I hope he throws 5 or 6 for you. As I get my blood pressure going. Mahomes better make up for being gone. I better see a 7 TD game out of this one. But I'm excited. And in the Throne League, I had a bunch of yahoos message me after I posted an image on Instagram showing our team last week, saying, we needed Zeke Elliott to pull it out, and we have freaking Gallup going against us. We're down by 11 or 12 in the Throne League, facing the guy we kicked out, who his team got replaced by Wolf, and Wolf was in there and basically didn't do much but just watch his team lose the lead to us. We were down by 1 or 2. Zeke was going crazy. Gallup was bottled up. And then Gallup gets that 1 touchdown freaking reception. He ended up with like 33 yards and like 2 or 3 receptions, but that 1 freaking touchdown did us in. And we lost that game. We needed that win. We were operating on Zeke Elliott and Zeke Elliott alone with Pascal in the lineup, and that was about, or Ertz. We had Ertz go nuts. We had a pretty good week. We had like a 110 week for having our top 2 of our top 3 guys out. But a couple yahoos were like, your team sucks, Smitty. All you got is Zeke Elliott and Ertz. We have Mahomes and Kamara as well, boy. So, yeah, fire up Kamara, Wesley. We've got Kamara. We've got Patty Mahomes. We got Zach Ertz. We got Zeke Elliott. We have Robert Woods off a bye. We have Pascal now as our wide receiver 3. Well, really, he's our 2 because we're so stacked at the other positions. I love our Throne team. I wouldn't change a bit. Any of it. None of it. But we're losing because we've been injured. That happens. Guess what? Welcome to fantasy football. You have Patty Mahomes. You have Alvin Kamara. And they go out. You're going to lose. What can I say? We have a great team. I would not change anything if we could go back in time, assuming we knew they wouldn't get hurt. I would draft that same team. Singletary has a rough week 14 through 16. Should I trade him? Rusty, you can trade him if you want, but I ain't trading Devin. And Devin is a all over the field matchup proof type of running back. You're talking about Alvin Kamara type skills where maybe he's a baby Kamara, and that's fine. You can categorize him as that. He might not be. Maybe he becomes the Kamara. Maybe he becomes the guy people go, he's no Devin Singletary. That's what we could be looking at with this Devin Singletary character. But get him the ball through the air, hand the ball off to him. He's all over the field. So if he faces a tough run D, maybe they're down and out, they'll throw to him. He could get a 40-yard reception. He could get a 60-yard TD reception at any moment. So I don't trade him. I love him. I go get him. Same thing with Monty. Go get Monty if he's cheap. But the God's honest truth is the windows are probably closed for getting both of these guys, to be completely honest with you. I don't see anybody getting. Let me see if I can. I'm going to try and adjust the audio here. I don't see anybody giving up Singletary or Monty at even reasonable prices right now. But Zachary with the super. Zachary, thank you for the super chat, young man, as you wear your Is that a Patriots jersey? I have 1.01 and 1.02 for 2020. Trade them for Zeke? I say no. I like Zeke Elliott a lot, but I think you talk about trading that 1.01 for Zeke. Like, that's the kind of argument you make. This 2020 draft class is going to be good. And you're going to get the top two. I like it. I like it a lot. I don't think I trade both picks for Zeke. And I love Zeke Elliott, man, but I don't. I build around those two players. You're in a great spot. In fact, Zachary, I'm going to tell you this. Even if it was a good deal, like let's say it was the one pick for Zeke Elliott, I like that. I probably would do that. But I'd almost say go after this, man. You only get an opportunity to not only have the top two rookies, maybe if you make another trade and get another like number 5 or something like that, you rarely get to rebuild from this vantage point with two guys like that. And on top of that, Zachary, this is supposed to be, and I believe it's probably going to be true, one of the best running back draft classes we've seen in quite a while. So to be in the situation you're in where you get to have a fun rebuilding session with that 1 and 2, and then to be able to do it on top of probably what some people say is one of the best running back classes in recent years, I think I don't pass on that opportunity, even if it's a good deal. Like, you have a freaking amazing... you lost what, Rick? You have an amazing opportunity to build. What's up, Larry? What is up, Larry? Just waiting for CBS to call. Once CBS calls, we are going to jump on CBS Sports Radio and get it going. I'd much rather have Freeman, Gallup, Gordon than Mixon and Diggs. Freeman, Gallup, Gordon, Mixon, Diggs. That's arguable, bro. Either way. Smitty, have Chubb, Henry, Singletary. Zachary, hopefully that helped you answer that question. And thank you all for the super chat so far. Much appreciated, as always. Michael says, I have Chubb, Henry, Singletary, Melvin Gordon, Jalen Samuels, Damian, have Evans and Thomas at wide receiver, Winston at QB, Waller at tight end. Nice job. What's up, Danny? Don't drop Bills, Liam says. Arik. Timmy in the house. Top Gun. I have Goff, Ridley, Lev Bell to get Stafford, Evans, Duke. I have Goff, Ridley, Lev Bell to get Stafford, Evans, Duke. I go get Evans because you're basically trading Bell for Evans at that point. And Stafford's better than Goff, in my opinion. It's arguable on either way, but dude, yeah, go get Evans, man. Go get Evans. Dylan says, Smitty, flex up Coleman, Mixon, Michelle, Singletary, AJ, Juju, PPR. You only have to pick one? You got to make trades, man. Singletary. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Smitty, how are you?
Oh, pretty good.
Got about 2 minutes.
Okay.
We'll get to you right away. All
okay.
Right?
Sounds good.
Okay, thanks.
Let me do something real quick, guys. Built in. Could you guys hear him okay? When I was talking to him, or was he completely silent? I just want to make sure I have the audio okay. Let me know. If you wouldn't mind, if you could hear that guy crystal clear, tell me.
And
what?
I got Smitty.
Josh Gordon or Mecole Hardman. Damn bye week. I hate the buys. I hate the injuries. It really took us out in the Throne League, man. What's up, Mike? You could hear him good? Okay. Let me know once Russ and I go live if you guys can hear him okay. I might have to put these on. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I missed a super chat. My bad. I'm going to find it. Christopher. Traded Devonta Freeman, Gallup, Tate, and Gordon for Mixon and Diggs. What do you think? Freeman, Gallup, Tate, and Josh.
Well, fans and fantasy football fanatics, it's time to get into the red
for
zone.
Mixon and Diggs. I like Mixon and Diggs. I mean, I'm not a big Mixon fan.
The Fanatic, and also on 99.3 FM. The red zone is brought to you by
Okay, we're going
Santisi
live.
Brothers Pizzeria.
Doing it live.
Bell Canyon
That's not the
Pavilions,
weekend
just west
show.
of I-17 on Bell Road. Santisi Brothers features award-winning pizzas, wings, classic Italian dinners, boar's head subs, burgers, baby back ribs, fresh seafood, and much more. Santisi Brothers also has a sports fan's ultimate viewing experience, the wide wall of sports. Over 50 flat-screen high-def televisions on one wall, and over 100 flat-screen HD TVs in all. There's a game room with pool tables, dartboards, and weekly poker tournaments. For more info on nightly specials and events,
I like that
go to
Diggs and Mixon. Christopher,
like
thank you for the super chat, by the way.
Remember,
Shop Mixon if you can,
now it's time to enter
but
the red
definitely
zone.
a good
Here's your host,
get out of those
NFL
players to get into a
football analyst,
little
Russ
bit better
Bliss.
situation.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Red Zone
Can
on
you guys hear it okay?
1580 AM, 99.3 FM, the Fanatic, Arizona's new home for the NFL and Super
Let me know if you
Bowl
can hear that.
54. Russ Bliss live at Santisi Brothers Pizzeria and Sports Grill, 2710 West Bell Road. Come on out. I'm here till 8 o'clock tonight. I'm also here on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 5 until 7. I'm not on the air either of those 2 days. All I'm doing is hanging out for 2 hours with you, talking fantasy football in person, dissecting your teams, and inviting you to play the free fantasy football challenge. All you got to do is start a quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a kicker. If you've got one of the top 3 scores of all entries I receive for the week, you get cash loaded onto your Santisi Brothers VIP card. Coming up here in the final segment of this hour, I will have my entry, because I do get one entry as well. We got Gary Davenport's entry in week number in the last hour, and we're about to get our next guest entry a little later on this hour from the FantasyFootballShow.com and SleeperU.com. Our good buddy Smitty joins us on the program. Smitty, how you doing tonight?
What's up, Russ? I'm doing great. Yeah, I can't wait to give you my entry for this week. I know I haven't been able to participate, and especially last week. We missed you. We still did the show, but we're back, and we're, in a lot of the leagues, I've got Mahomes and Kamara both in a lot of my leagues, and I got both of them back firing on all cylinders for week 10. I'm happy.
It's a good time to have both those guys, especially as we get into the stretch run. Now, of course, everyone, I've been telling them about the Fantasy Football Show. Everyone knows about Sleeper U. Go ahead and tell the audience what is going on with the Fantasy Football Show and what they need to do to join on the FantasyFootballShow.com.
Yeah, so Russ, I created the FantasyFootballShow.com, which you can find at YouTube.com/TheFantasyFootballShow or Instagram at TheFantasyFootballShow. I created this for one reason, which is to get video content out there like never before. I started in this business 16 years ago, as you know, on your show, essentially, and created content, and I tried to be bolder than most people calculated, but bold, and use some of the gut instincts and turn that into a great content that people are looking for, not just the safe rankings out there. And I'm turning that after 16 years, or 15, in year 16 into video format. And so I'm cranking out like 4 or 5 lives a week. I try and do a video every single day. It's like essentially a 40-hour-a-week job on top of my fantasy football career on SleeperU.com. But I'm having fun, Russ, and the Fantasy Football Show is growing. It went from 0 to 60 from January to now. It's been crazy. We're like at 30. I forget the exact number, but 3,700 subscribers in since January, February, really.
That's awesome. And of course, you also do the FantasyFootballShow.com on Sunday mornings just before the games get started. Tell everyone about that.
Yeah, so 1 hour before kickoff of the main morning games, get on YouTube.com/TheFantasyFootballShow. And if you ever forget that, for whatever reason, just go to thefantasyfootballshow.com. But to join, it's really as easy as subscribing. You just go to YouTube. It's free. You just hit subscribe, hit the bell notification, which will let you know when I go live. And since I'm one of the most interactive, if not in my opinion, the most interactive fantasy football channel on YouTube, if you don't hit the bell icon, you're going to miss when I go live. And going live is about half of what I do. So I go live and I do one-on-one answering questions. And we at times the other night, we had 800 plus people in the room at one time for, a good half hour. It was a record for us. So 800, our lives get crazy. That's a lot of people to have in one room. It usually takes about an hour or two before we accumulate that many, because YouTube lets people know, hey, this guy's live. As more people watch and the popularity of that particular show increases on YouTube.
Well, let's go ahead and get started giving people the advice that they've come to know and expect from us. When we talk about things, we'll start off with our buy low, sell highs heading into week number 10. If for those leagues where they still have the ability to make trades, because I know that every league's kind of different, some actually have a trade deadline, but as long as it hasn't passed, who are some of the guys that you're looking to buy low on?
I'm still buying low on DeAndre Hopkins. People are still a little bit shy to make him their number 1 or number 2 overall wide receiver. Now, you're not going to steal him away from anybody, but for whatever reason, he's still very low on a lot of people's trade value chart or whatever. I think Devontae Adams, people are a little scared off of his performance. It was his first game back. Essentially, they had half of a game of stats to throw at you. So if you're judging Adams, I think he had something like 9 or 10 targets. I'm not exactly sure off the top of my head, but he was targeted a lot. Hopefully he gets better and more healthy each week, but people are worried that he might not be the same wide receiver. So he's a good buy low. I think selling high on Nick Chubb and Fournette aren't bad ideas, but you have to sell high or you don't sell at all. People misconstrued when I say that and say, hey, Smitty, you're telling me you hate Fournette, or you're telling me you hate Chubb. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that these are players I feel have a little bit of risk to break down. Therefore, it's nice to trade them and get into 2 better players. For example, you own Fournette right now. I think you could go and get, and I had a couple people send me this exact offer, so I know it's possible, where you could go get David Montgomery or Singletary and get like Odell Beckham Jr., who's struggling, or Adams and Singletary for Fournette, Adams and Singletary for Chris Carson. Those are the type of moves I look into, especially if you need a spark, you're not really in the playoff race, or you're far from getting a spot. You got to do something kind of crazy and out of the box. So those are moves that I look to do. I don't think you can get Pat Mahomes anymore. He's been somebody I've been pushing for a couple weeks now because people have been saying I can't win with him on the bench. I have to trade him. Kamara, the same window's probably closed at this point. The buy lows, Russ, have really kind of fallen off. Like the number of great players that were super cheap, that group tends to get smaller and smaller as we get through the year, because naturally they all start to bounce back. Marlon Mack is somebody I like to go buy low on, because I think he has running back 1 appeal, but you can get him at running back 2 value, even low end 2 value. I sell high on Derrick Henry if you can get a lot. I worry about David Johnson. He says he's going to be back this week. Maybe that gets people excited. I just worry about that situation. I kind of want to get out of it. I love Devin Singletary. I love David Montgomery, as I mentioned. Those are a lot of the big names that I think I hear a lot about. At least people are toying with going and getting, or toying with trading away.
Now, a couple of my buy low candidates. I'm looking at Carson Wentz of the Philadelphia Eagles. When we're talking between weeks 11 and 16, he has got some nice matchups, taking on Seattle, Miami, Giants, Washington. These teams are all in the bottom third of fantasy points allowed to opposing quarterbacks. So I think that Carson Wentz, someone who has not put up the big numbers that people were expecting, definitely is one of those guys that you could probably get on the cheap right now. I'd love to get Damian Williams. I think that we finally saw the torch pass this past week with Damian Williams and LaShawn McCoy, where Williams is going to be much more used down this stretch as they try and keep McCoy fresher for the playoffs. And Darius Geis is very intriguing, with the Redskins being so dedicated to their run game with Adrian Peterson. The return of Darius Geis from injured reserve, they stay committed to that run game. I think that there's enough carries there for both Geis and Peterson to get their carries. Granted, both probably do better when they're the workhorse, but that Redskins have got nothing to lose by seeing what they've got in Darius Geis.
Yeah, that's not a bad person to target off waivers. He's definitely available in a lot of leagues, or at least he was until last night. Sometimes when we get to the show, Russ, people have already had their waivers, so for anybody that has late waivers, Geis is a good one. Two other ones, Russ. Buy low on Travis Kelce before this week. For whatever reason, people have kind of ignored why he's not blowing up right now. And with Mahomes back, I think there's a really good shot. He's the top tight end moving forward. And Waller's, you could trade Waller and get him. You could trade maybe a wide receiver that's doing really well that you have to worry about. You could trade your tight end and a wide receiver that you debate on starting each week because you got four really good ones, and you're deciding each week between, Diggs, Marvin Jones, DJ Moore, and Robert Woods, and you could trade one of those in your tight end and get Kelce. So definitely try, going after him for sure. Kittle maybe a little bit of good buy low value as well. I like all the names you mentioned. And Chark, I'd say DJ Chark is a really good buy low right now. People are kind of giving up on him.
Another player that's being given up on by quite a few, Devontae Adams of the Packers. Lackluster game in his first game back this past week, but Devontae Adams, granted, he's got a Week 11 bye. Another reason why he's a good buy low candidate, because he still has another bye week. But then after that bye week, he's got matchups against Carolina, the Giants, and Washington. I think that Devontae Adams, with a healthy Aaron Rodgers, can definitely get this turned around and be a great steal if you can get the right deal for him.
Yeah, and I mentioned him earlier too. Yeah, he's. I just think you look at the fact that they had essentially a half of stats, just a half of stats, because they didn't do anything in the first half. To have the numbers he had was actually impressive for his first game back. So I agree with you. Definitely ready to roll with D. Adams. Not selling him, but I'm definitely buying him.
He's Smitty from the FantasyFootballShow.com and SleeperU.com. Smitty, we're just about up against the break, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to put you on hold. We'll bring you up on the other side. We'll talk about the free agents to target off of waiver wires. Also, I've got some questions in our chat at 888-368-1580. I want to get to those. I'm sure you've got some questions in your chat room as well, so want to get to a few of those. And, of course, need to get your picks for week number 10 of the Fantasy Football Challenge. So we're going to put you on hold and bring you up on the other side of the break. That's forthcoming.
Sounds good.
He's Smitty. Check him out at thefantasyfootballshow.com. It's going on right now, live on YouTube. I got to make it out there for one of his shows, or a couple of his shows. Now, I'm all over the idea of exploring this new format. Now, I'm a dinosaur in the industry. I remember pen and paper. I remember having to mail results to people when I was a commissioner back in the 90s before we had internet ability to house our leads up. So, I go way back. Yeah. I like how the guy...
Music's a little loud all the time. Unless I get Saquon and like Mike Evans. Jenkins, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Do you like Damian Williams now? I do. I think Damian Williams is pretty darn exciting right now moving forward, because you probably got him really cheap because someone traded him low or dropped him. He was dropped in a lot of leagues and then picked back up by a lot of people. So I definitely feel pretty good about him. If you're still holding on to him at the value you paid, you're hoping that he does something for you amazing, and I do too. But, I think given the value you probably got him at, he's the house's money at this point. What a disappointing first half of the year for him, though. Chiefs running backs are crapshoot. You never know what Andy Reid is going to do. Yeah, and that's why I'm not in favor of going and getting Damian. I think anybody that owns him is probably going to be like, I'm going to keep him unless you overpay. So I think going and getting him is tough. Why are you talking trade? What do you mean, James? Should I trade Fournette for D-Hop? I also got Singletary and Monty. Fournette for D-Hop. I would do that. I think D-Hop I would draft D-Hop if drafting today higher than Fournette. So I would go get him in a heartbeat. Dylan. Let me put all these on screen here. Dylan in the house. What's up, Dylan? Did I miss any supers? I'm sorry. Sometimes it's hard when I'm answering questions. Traded Devonta Freeman, Gallup. I think that's the last one I got. Okay. If you guys have any super chats, I'll put them on the show. So any super chats, roll them through. I'll drag them on screen, and I'll try and get to them during the show. If we don't get to all of them, I'm sure we will. I will definitely answer them after. Who are you talking about, James? So what questions you got for me? Where are my mods at? Come on, mods. Call the counselor live on air, says my balls, Zach Ertz. I don't know that he would answer. Yahoo 4x4 Fantasy Pros are really messing with my head. Smitty, I hear to make sense of it. Why the pros are messing with your head? I actually contribute to that. I do rankings on there for them. Super chat by Ozzy. Ozzy, I'm throwing this on the show. I'm going to answer it for you as well, but I will ask Russ. Traded Bell, AJ Green, who is now, I guess, questionable again. AJ Green is not looking good. Traded Bell, AJ Green, Pats D for Kamara. The Pats D and Bell, that's maybe a lot, but I like it, man. I'm okay with Kamara. You have the Ravens D. You're looking okay. I think the Patriots D will continue to play really well, but I don't think you can count on anything close to what they were scoring all year. You sold at the right time. You got a guy that he's bye free. You won't have another bye to deal with Kamara. And I think he's a top 5 running back. He's potentially a top 5 overall pick. Let's see if we're back on air. Not yet.
Sponsored by the air.
So I'm going to answer that question on the live, though, as well. Do you trade Aaron Jones, Kelsey, and A.J. Green for Marvin Jones, Adams, and Jacobs? No, you don't. You don't. You keep Jones, you keep Kelsey. Should I trade Odell and Everett for Kittle? I do. I go get Kittle.
Show talking fantasy football in the NFL on 15 AM, 99.3 FM, the Fanatic. Russ Bliss with you until 8 o'clock tonight.
Okay.
Pardon me. My guest on the program from the FantasyFootballShow.com on YouTube is Smitty. He is our guest. Smitty, something else that we always do every week in addition to the buy low, sell highs is we talk about the free agents to target for those who have got bye weeks. We've got 6 teams on bye. We've got injuries galore. Who are some of the better free agents to target for week number 10?
Yeah, so I'm gonna tell you who I'd obviously Ronald Jones is like one of the top targets. A lot of people have him number 1. Pascal, a guy I talked about a lot last week on my Instagram and YouTube channel, that Pascal was going to be the replacement for T.Y. and that he's been doing good all year quietly. And he had a good game. I think he's continuing. He's going to continue to have a good game. I think he could be a really high-end wide receiver 3 moving forward. So I actually like Pascal as like the top now option. Ronald Jones, I don't know that I buy into yet. You grab him if you have a spot to burn, and let's say you don't need a wide receiver or whatever. I get that. Goddard at tight end I like a lot for the Eagles, but I think Zach Ertz is back. Darrell Henderson and Alexander Mattison are the 2 running backs that I like the most, though. If you're in a situation where you're looking to grab a gem, put that gem on your bench and hopefully have, maybe it's only 2 weeks, maybe it's 3 weeks, maybe it's none, where these guys start for their teams. If Madison starts for the Vikings, and I hope he doesn't because I'm one of the biggest Cook believers. And, in my intro video, Russ, I say top 5 running back. Show a picture of Dalvin Cook. And I've been playing that all year since, I think, January or February. That could have got me in a lot of trouble if Dalvin Cook busted. But I've been playing that all year. So I'm the biggest Dalvin Cook believer. But Madison would be a top 5 to 10 running back per start if he starts. So Henderson, I feel the same way about. You can't find those gems very often on waivers, and they're on a lot of waivers right now. So I picked those two up if I'm looking for a stash.
Also, I was surprised to find out that Phillip Rivers of the Chargers is only owned in about 60% of leagues. And Phillip Rivers has got a dream matchup this week against the Oakland Raiders on that Thursday night game. Granted, they're a road team, and the road team usually struggles on Thursday night, but it's not like as though Oakland is that many hours away from Los Angeles. So I think that Phillip Rivers, if he's available and you've got need at quarterback, run to the waiver wire, pick this guy up, and plug him in there as your plug and play this week.
Daniel Jones is available in a lot of leagues too. I know he's been kind of up and down, but they have a lot of weapons there. I think he's a really good quarterback. I think he's a decent pickup as well at quarterback if you need a QB. Darnold's there. I'm not sure I trust Darnold, so I'm with you. If Rivers is there, it's Rivers and Jones, and that's about it.
What do you think about Nick? What do you think about Nick Foles coming back? He's been inserted as the starter over Gardner Minshew when they come back from their bye this week. What do you think about Nick Foles in Jacksonville?
Yeah, I guess I should have mentioned him as well. Yeah, that is also a good option if you need a QB. I don't know that he's a lock of any kind, but he threw a TD, I believe, Russ, and then broke his collarbone. So I don't know that he's disappointed anybody other than breaking his collarbone. So they're paying him a ton of money. We kind of saw this coming. Unless Minshew tore it up in his final game, it was a pretty easy call for the Jags to turn back to him. And he's an okay backup. I wouldn't be starting him, but he could throw 3 TDs in any given game. He could throw 0 in the next game. But definitely one of those guys that I think you could count on if you needed to, and it wouldn't be that big of a deal. Now, Kalen Ballage is kind of a flying in under the radar right now on waiver wires. Like I even looked right here, looking at a waiver wire average of experts, and he's outside the top 15. But yet he's the main guy now in Miami, and he's a big dude, a bruising running back, and he hasn't really been given a chance to get tons of carries to get into a rhythm. And I think he'll bulldoze over some people. So if you need a flex or desperate for running back 2 production, grab him. He could be good.
He's Smitty from the Fantasy Football Show and SleeperU.com. He joins us every Wednesday in the 7 o'clock hour here on the Fanatic. Let's go ahead and go over some of the questions that are on the text line at 888-368-1580. You ready for it?
Let's do it.
First one here is Ronald Jones or Malcolm Brown for flex option. I think this is fairly apparent.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know. Malcolm Brown's coming back from injury. He could be, I think I heard, trending in the right direction. So Jones is trending in the right direction a little bit quicker than him. So you got to go with Jones for now.
Papa Mike says, need 2 running backs and a flex. Have Gurley, David Johnson, Latavius Murray, and Jamal Williams from Green Bay. I think, again, the 2 starters are fairly obvious. If Johnson plays, it's Gurley and Johnson. If Johnson doesn't play, then you've got your answer by attrition right there. But it would be your flex option, assuming Johnson plays, between Latavius Murray and Jamal Williams.
So Johnson says he is playing 100%, like that's the latest from him as of tonight. That's a report on RotoWorld anyways. So it sounds like he's a go. The one that's more a question might be Gurley, and then at that point you go Lat Murray, because Lat Murray still has standalone value. But yeah, if Gurley were playing, starting, getting the touches, it's pretty hard not to go with the 2 guys getting the bulk of the carries. But Lat Murray wouldn't be the most awful safe play if you are at all worried about Gurley and his touches. Gurley could get, I mean, the Rams are not forthcoming with what's going on. So, if there's questions at all, Murray's maybe good for 8 carries and a potential touchdown as they ease Kamara back into it.
And he's got a very nice matchup this week as the New Orleans Saints are home against the Atlanta Falcons, who pretty much have mailed in their season.
Yeah, and if they get up by a big amount, they're not going to run Kamara out there the fourth quarter. So that's where Murray could get some cleanup time. Yeah, it's a safe play. It's a decent safe play.
Got one here from Churro. I don't think I can answer this because I haven't studied all of the playoff weeks, but he says, I'm pretty close to the playoffs, looking ahead to weeks 13 through 16. Who are some of your favorite players at running back and wide receiver for those weeks?
Yeah, defense has changed so much. It's really hard to answer those questions on a show when we don't have time to look at it. So my advice is not to put too much into that because there are some players that, like Kamara, who are almost matchup proof because if he's going up against a good run defense, he's going to be utilized in the receiving game. So for me, I don't really put too much stock into that. And look at Le'Veon Bell. Everyone kept saying trade for him now. His schedule's gold, and he hasn't done much at all the last couple weeks. So I'm not going to put too much stock into that, and that's just such a detailed question for the show. I'm gonna tell him to kind of wait on that.
Smitty, wanted to ask you about the latest on the Pittsburgh running back situation. Jalen Samuel was excellent last week for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He didn't have to worry about Connor, didn't have to worry about Snell. Got a surprise with that Trey, and his last name eludes me right now. But
Edmonds.
Trey Edmonds. What have you heard whether or not James Conner is going to play this week? And if so, what's the split going to be like between him and Samuel?
Yeah, the latest on Connor is he was limited. And let me pull up the most latest news. But it sounds like Samuels will get the running back one duties. But Connor, if he played, I think he'd still be limited to a certain capacity. So if you've got like close options, close calls, you might want to lean away sitting Connor. But the latest news on him was James Conner's shoulder was limited in Wednesday's practice. Meanwhile, backup Trey Edmonds surprisingly didn't practice. Tomlin was optimistic Connor could suit up for Week 10, but did warn that he would be limited to begin the week. So really, we're in the dark probably till Friday. We'll get a good indication on Friday, like we normally do with some of these calls, whether he's going to be a complete game time call or they're leaning out. But I think Samuels, if playing, is a running back one in this week if he's getting all the touches.
Got another running back question for you here. Want to know what you think about the effect on Adrian Peterson with Darius Geis expected to play Week 11 when Washington comes out of their bye. Geis is a great unknown. Peterson has been, again, a surprise at 34 years old for the Washington Redskins. But what are you expecting to see happen when Geis returns?
I think they ease Geis back. I think if Geis were ready to just go nuts, it wouldn't have taken him this long to get healthy. So I think that there's a reason why he's, when there was footage of him just going nuts, in the preseason, looking like he was fast, quick, but they rushed him back, and he's a very injury-prone player. So I'm not gonna, I don't assume he's gonna stay healthy. He's very talented, but he feels like one of those players that's never gonna get it all together. That's my opinion. I'm not saying I wouldn't pick him up, put him on my bench and wait, but I'm certainly not going to play him until I see him proving himself and looking like he's going to get the bulk of the carries. Adrian Peterson, 108 yards and 18 carries in Week 9, 14 carries the week prior for 76 yards. That's 5.4 a pop. 20 carries the week before that at 4.1. 23 carries before that at 5.1. I don't know why they would not keep feeding him the ball. Even with the Geis coming back, Geis is a compliment at this point until AP gets hurt, and they go they're in a bye week in Week 10 here, so they play the Jets, the Lions. I think AP continues to play flex like production moving forward.
He's Smitty. We're going to step aside. We'll bring you right back on the other side, Smitty, because I know we're up against the break, and we'll continue the discussion. Sound like a plan?
Sounds good.
He's Smitty from the FantasyFootballShow.com. Check it out on YouTube. I'm Russ Bliss. I'm live at St.
All right. Sorry, I had some echo. It's hard to concentrate there for a little bit there. Do that now, Aaron. What did Aaron ask? Okay, super chat from Alex. Alex, thank you for the super chat. Drake or Connor this week, full PPR. We're talking about Connor. If Connor plays, you play him. Drake is not starting. DJ says he's going to play. How much? who knows? But I don't think I'd play around with that Cardinals running back situation. I feel like you'll get burned no matter what you do. If Connor is out, and we'll know more Friday, then maybe you do go Drake. I don't know what your other options are, but I definitely would. Aaron, what was the deal? Post it, Aaron. I'm interested. So, Alex, go Drake. If Connor's out, go Connor if he's a go. And if you have another option, drop it, and we'll take a look at it. I'll read that one on the show as well, and I'll also read this one from Ozzy. Committee in AZ guarantee, says Wesley. What's up, Kyle? Tyrell Williams, Matt Breda. I go Williams. He feels a little safer. Wipe your feet, says Wesley. Yeah, please wipe your feet. We got 59 thumbs up, 122 in the room. Is Joseph Reynolds worth a pickup with Cooks out? I mean, meh. Was Chris Godwin and Mark Andrews a good trade for Kelsey? And Mac? Godwin and Mark Andrews for Kelsey and Mac. I could be very even. I kind of, depending on your team needs, I kind of like the Kelsey and Mac one. I know people might want to lean Godwin and Mark Andrews, but dude, I think Kelsey's going to come back on a tear. I think Mac is going to be really, really good as long as he stays healthy. I'm going to lean the Kelsey and Mac side, even though I know that a lot of people might not feel that way. I would probably guess. Smitty, have you lost your trust in DJ? Computer Bob, I haven't had a whole lot of trust in him. I liked him a lot when he was a sleeper. But, yeah, not a bad ratio. That's true. It's not bad. 68 for 129. That is true. What was the question? Oh, here it is. Computer Bob was saying, have you lost your trust in DJ? So, I liked him when he was second round material, and he was in like January. Then he climbed up to like 10. Still kind of liked him there. And then everybody started ranking him number 5 overall, especially when Zeke started holding out. People drafted this guy ahead of Zeke Elliott. I know Zeke hasn't had the biggest year ever, but he's going to finish on a tear. I know it. As long as he stays healthy. Let me see if we're back. But DJ never had top 5 overall value, trust in me. That's why I own DJ in 0 out of 14 leagues. That tells you something. With all the questions about Zeke, the fact that I own Kamara, and Kamara's gotten hurt, that sucks. I mean, in a sense, DJ's outplayed Kamara at times, so I don't even know what their total is together. But I just didn't trust DJ at top 5 value. I just didn't. And so you can imagine that now I don't. No way. I don't trust Arizona and how they use their running backs. They do really well with their running backs. That's for damn sure. Okay, we're still on hold. Dylan, where do you see Chubb finishing with Hunt back? So, this is such a tough subject for people to, not yell and scream about and get mad. But Hunt's going to dig in a little bit, but not to the point where I think it makes Chubb like a running back 2. It might make him a little bit lower end running back 1 versus a high end or mid-range running back 1, if you will. But the real value in Hunt is that if Chubb goes down, which is a very decent chance that he could get hurt or banged up at least because he's such an aggressive runner, big frame. It boils down to I don't know how aggressive you run and how he just takes hits differently. He's been more involved in the receiving game than I anticipated. So Chubb, and this is coming from a Chubb believer. I had Chubb top 5 to 10. In all my rankings, I talk about Chubb being one of the best top 5 to 10 running backs to draft. So I'm not a doubter by any means. I just think it was a smart move to handcuff him to Hunt.
Pizzeria and Sports Grill. We're off beat for about another 25, 30 minutes here, because it does take me a couple minutes to close down, so you still got time to get on out here. Just look for the guy wearing the number 39 white Rams jersey, that's me. I'll get you hooked up with a Fantasy Challenge entry. Joined on the program, as I am every 7 o'clock hour on Wednesday nights, by our good buddy Smitty. Smitty, let's turn our attention to some wide receivers I wanted to ask your opinion on. The Rams, Brandon Cook, and the Giants, Sterling Shepard. Both of these guys have had multiple concussions throughout their careers. Shepard's had 2 concussions this season so far. Neither one's going to play in week number 10. No timetable for either one to return. Do you think we're going to see either one of these guys back at all this year?
I'd be guessing if I gave you a confident answer, Russ, because I just don't know. But I think that they're looking into his history of concussions, so that doesn't sound good for Cooks. I think he could definitely be out multiple games, but we'll see. It's a shame. He's such a good wide receiver. It does help Cooper Kupp stay in that wide receiver 1, going crazy territory. Kupp has been one of the players I feel like I miss pretty hard on. Russ, we all have those. I do take accountability on my show. I try and do that a lot and let people know what I missed on. Adjust and adapt, not stick to my guns just because I've called Kupp a potential injury risk all year. I was wrong on him, and he's going nuts. And I think that Woods and he both have really good finishes to the year. And Cooks being out is going to help Woods. So if you own Woods, you should be at least happy about the fact that Woods will get a lot of targets. But I don't know what to do with Cooks if you own him.
How about the Giants, Sterling Shepard? 2 concussions so far this season.
Yeah.
And it's like as though the Giants are contemplating putting him on injured reserve.
Yeah, I don't have any faith in him. I certainly wouldn't roster him. There's too many other receivers out there like Pascal. Zach Pascal you can pick up in still, I think, like 40 to 60% of leagues, depending on the format or where you host your league, whether it's Yahoo. It's a little bit different percentage across different league management sites. But take up Pascal, man. He's the number 1 wide receiver in Indianapolis. Versus trying to figure out when Shepard's going to be back. And it looks like Shepard on injured reserve. So he's on injured reserve. Might not come back for a while. It's the last report. That was November 6th. So, today.
How about Cincinnati's A.J. Green? A.J. Green was all set to practice today, and then right before practice begins, A.J. Green said he didn't feel well and went off to get some rehab going and some treatment. A.J. Green has missed all of this season so far. Do you really think he's going to come back and play for a crappy Cincinnati Bengals team when he's in a contract year? He's making money, not getting hurt, not having to be out there, not having to put any pressure on his body. I don't see any scenario where A.J. Green comes back and plays at all this season. Do you?
I think you can make both arguments on that. I think the one reason why he would want to is that if he doesn't come back and prove he's healthy, it's going to be a lot harder for him to land a big deal. But I see your point, and you can make an argument for your side as well that, hey, why risk hurting this ankle more? But if I'm an NFL team and he's supposed to come back in Week 10 and doesn't play another snap for the rest of the year, that would be a huge red flag to me. So I think at some point he does have to come back and prove he's the A.J. Green of old in a contract year, because that makes him able to go out there and make a case. Hey, I'm still the same guy. And right now, you leave 2019 this way, you ain't getting a big deal, in my opinion.
And wanted to ask your opinion, guy that we have talked about so many times over the last 6 years. It's ridiculous. Josh Gordon, now in Seattle. He's had some time. He passed his physical. Looks like as though he's going to play in week number 10 for the Seahawks. Now, they already have Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, both of whom have had pretty good seasons. Metcalf is starting to live up to some of the hype, and Lockett has definitely been locked in as a solid wide receiver 1/2 for fantasy football most of the season. What type of impact do you think that Josh Gordon can have in Seattle?
He's so good. And I think that New England could be one of those places where you either do well and thrive if you get traded there, or you just get lost in the shuffle and the rotation that is Tom Brady and what he does with those wide receivers. But I don't know that this situation is any better, because Lockett and DK are they're entrenched in that they're hogging all the targets essentially. And I don't see that there's a lot of room for Gordon to be consistent. Now, he may have a big game here or there, and then you start him in a league as your wide receiver 3, and he busts for you the next week. Then you bench him. Then he goes off again. Like, he could have that kind of role, I think. But unless DK gets hurt, which is a possibility given how big the dude is, he's like a tight end, and he's playing this wide receiver position, getting hit like a wide receiver. There's a potential that, as a rookie, he breaks down. And then Gordon's in the number 2 role in a very good offense that could use him and give him a ton of targets. So I don't start him anytime soon. I don't necessarily cut him in the largest of leagues. I have him in 2 leagues. He's on waivers in another league where we have small benches and I don't want to waste a spot on him. Depends on your format, but there's an opportunity here for him. It's just kind of, I think, disguised at the moment.
Now, Smitty, of course, we do the Fantasy Football Challenge out here at Santisi Brothers every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday evening, and we did it a couple of weeks ago. You actually came in first between you, me, and Gary that week. That the connection dropped, and we had to do it via text off the air.
Yeah, nice.
Congratulations and props on that one. Didn't get a chance to get you in on last week because, of course, we had the short show with GCU basketball, but want to get your players in the Fantasy Challenge. You understand the scoring format, right? It's all decimal point scoring.
Yep, I'm good with that. So I'm going to go Pat Mahomes. Patty Mahomes is my QB.
Pat Mahomes at quarterback. Who's your running backs?
Running backs, I'm going to roll with Kamara. And, man, this is a tough one. We'll go with, actually, you know what? Can I go with Cook, Dalvin Cook, and Zeke Elliott?
Dalvin Cook and Zeke Elliott.
Sorry about that.
You can simply do that. That's okay. Hey.
Okay, then I'm going to go Mike Thomas. So that leaves me open to go with Mike Thomas. And then I got one other wide receiver spot.
One other wide receiver or tight end, your choice.
Let's go. I'm going to go against what I've said all year. I'm going to go Lockett.
Going to go Tyler Lockett. And then for kicker, who do you want as your kicker this week?
And I don't need a tight end. Okay, kicker. Vinatieri.
Adam Vinatieri. There we go. We got Pat Mahomes of Kansas City, Dalvin Cook of Minnesota, Ezekiel Elliott of Dallas, Michael Thomas of the Saints, Tyler Lockett of Seattle, and Adam Vinatieri of the Indianapolis Colts. Awesome. Did you hear who Gary picked in the first hour?
Who'd he get?
He went with quarterback Lamar Jackson. His running backs are Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley. His wide receivers are Michael Thomas and Mike Evans, and his kicker is Mason Crosby. And I share 2 players with Gary. I share 1 player with you. So by deduction, that means that at least one of my wide receivers this week is Michael Thomas.
Nice. Yeah, it was tough. The reason I'm not going McCaffrey is I knew he probably would be picked, I thought, by both of you, so I was going to try and mix it up. But it's tough. It's tough not picking McCaffrey. He's the number 1 overall player if you're drafting today. Russ, who's the number 2 and 3 if you're drafting today? You got McCaffrey, and then who's your number 2 and number 3?
Number 2 would have to be Dalvin Cook. I mean, you look at Dalvin Cook with 894 yards. It's the most rushing yards in the NFL. He's got 9 rushing touchdowns. He's caught 33 passes for another 338 yards. Dalvin Cook has been just solid money all season long. And then for number 3, it's really kind of hard to say because if you go just by the stats, Aaron Jones is actually the 3rd highest scoring fantasy football running back out there, averaging 16.8 points per game. But then you've got Ezekiel Elliott, who's just behind him at about 16 points a game. You've got Josh Jacobs at about 15 points a game. There's some good running backs right there. And Nick Chubb, of course, he's at 16.6 Nick Chubb could be in that conversation. I'd probably go Nick Chubb, but with the return of Kareem Hunt, it really is very hard to say for sure that he's the guy that you'd want to have.
Yeah. He's more so a lock to back him up, in my opinion, but he definitely will lose some touches. But I think it's more about that situation's probably going to keep producing top 5 to 10 running back numbers, so why wouldn't you want both? That's been my whole thing all offseason. Even with owning him, with being out as many games as he was out, you're still worth it to cuff to Chubb.
Yeah, I think I'd have to say Ezekiel Elliott most likely would be the number 3 overall behind McCaffrey and Dalvin Cook. Would you agree?
Yeah, and if you don't mind real quick, I have 2 questions I'd love to throw at you from the YouTube show right now. We're live here. We have 140 in the room. Again, this thing gets up to 800. Sometimes when we get off the air, it's a later time for me. People jump on. They're used to me going on late. But this guy traded Lev Bell, A.J. Green, and the Patriots defense for Alvin Kamara. Do you like that move?
He got rid of Le'Veon Bell, A.J. Green, and the Patriots defense, and he got Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that move. In my opinion, that's a slam dunk move. Le'Veon Bell is producing like a running back 2-3. A.J. Green not producing anything at all, and I don't think he's going to. And the Patriots defense, well, they've been great so far this year, but we've seen defenses not always what you need. You need to have great running backs a lot of the time to get you through your fantasy football playoffs. I think that was a very smart trade.
Yeah, I liked it too. And you're trading high on the Patriots. They're just not going to keep playing at the same level, but I think they'll be amazing. But you're getting an amazing running back, and he has the Ravens defense, so it was a great move. And last question here, Alex is asking Drake or Connor. If you've got to make a call this week, Connor, he's saying if Connor plays, do you play Drake or Connor? I told him if Connor plays, you got to play Connor because Drake may be the backup. But let's say Connor is going to be kind of questionable. Do you just roll with Drake to be safe?
I think I just go ahead and roll with Drake unless the reports on Connor are absolutely outstanding. One thing we know with David Johnson could go out there, play 3 snaps, and be done for the rest of the game. It's a great matchup this week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I like that matchup better than I like the matchup for Connor against the Los Angeles Rams. So I would say I'm leaning more towards Drake unless we hear that Connor is just like practicing in full. He's ready to come back and all set to take over as the number 1 running back.
Yeah. And then what about this one real quick, if you don't mind? Trade Edelman and Carson for Keenan Allen and Josh Jacobs.
Julian Edelman and Chris Carson for Keenan Allen and Josh Jacobs. No, I don't think so, because Chris Carson has solidified himself as a borderline running back 1-2. Granted, there's a bit of an upgrade with Josh Jacobs, but I think the downgrade from Edelman to Keenan Allen, who has not had the season that we all expected him to, is just a little too great. Smitty, unfortunately, I'm out of time. I'm up against it. I really appreciate your time again tonight. Say hi to everyone in the room there at the fantasyfootballshow.com on YouTube. And best of luck in all your fantasy leagues, and we'll talk to you again next week, my friend.
Thanks, Russ. See ya.
He's Smitty. Check it.
And that puts a wrap on this Week 10 show on CBS Sports Radio. Thank you all for joining in. All right, let me answer some questions here before we jump here. Breda, I'm going to do speed round here. Breda or Damian Williams. I go Damian this week. I'm feeling it, but dude, you're running the risk either way on that one. Trade McLaurin and Ingram for Jacobs. Yes, go get Jacobs. Winston and Golden Tate or Rodgers and Freeman. I go Rodgers and Devontae Freeman. I assume you mean Devontae. I go Rodgers and Devontae Freeman. I know a lot of people are all worried about Aaron Rodgers again, but guess what happens? He bounces back. Thanks, Russ. Great show, Smitty. Thank you, Danny. Love the show. Thank you, Dylan. Let me give you your props for calling out the show. Thank you, and thank you. Carson for Chubb, a good trade. Yeah, I'm kind of liking selling high on both of those guys. I feel like Chubb has a little bit more trade value, so I probably would trade Carson for Chubb, and then just shop Chubb if you can, see what you can get. If not, ride it out. Make sure you get Kareem Hunt if available. But I like both those guys a lot at the value that you're talking about. Carson, I have had my doubts about. I still worry about him getting hurt, but Doobie says I'd rather have Carson than Chubb with Hunt coming back. I wouldn't blame you. Tannehill, Carr, or Josh Allen as a QB streamer. Watson's on a bye. I go Josh Allen because of the running. Sam, Smitty, you're the best. Thank you, Sam. Trade help, please. Trading away Dak Prescott and Devonta Freeman for James Conner. Depends on your QB. Who do you have a QB, Sam? Would I trade Damian Williams, Monty, Marvin for Kamara? Damian Williams, Monty, Marvin for Kamara. Oh, God. Probably not W unless you don't use any of those guys but the one player. So if you're playing Monty and only Monty, then Kamara is an upgrade, potentially. But I like Monty quietly as much. I think Monty has that upside. He has a lot of risk, though. Know that. I'm not telling you to pass up on Kamara. I'm just saying it depends on what you need. Keep Thielen and Monty in Dynasty, says MG Toe. Legion. DJ Moore, DK Metcalf, Mike Williams, sit 1. I'd probably sit Mike Williams. But that's tough. You're going to get that wrong like 40% of the time, if that, if not more. You think Joe Mixon bounces back the rest of the season? I think they're going to run the ball more, so maybe, but I don't own any Mixon shares for a reason. I just don't believe in them. But try and sell high, maybe. Bernard says, great show. Thank you. Tom Brady's your QB. Okay. So, I probably would take Connor, but, dude, what if Connor is not going to be healthy all year? What if Samuels eats into his workload all year? It's a risk either way. It's one of those trades where it's like, I don't know, man. It could go either way for you, and almost feels like, why do it? But I guess I would go get Connor. Can you get Samuels somehow? Rose says, Stephon Diggs or Kenyon Drake? Diggs. You got to go Diggs this week. Drake feels like he could be splitting carries with DJ. DJ says he's playing. Stay on the news. Join me 1 hour before the morning games kick off, where we'll talk about DJ status. So if it changes, you'll know. So I'm answering this question really early. Things can change. You got to stay on the news. But Drake right now feels like he could be the backup, which could still be good. He could still have a lot of work. But Diggs feels a little bit safer, especially, it's standard. I still feel like Diggs for now, until we know more. Traded Fournette for Jacobs. Trade Fournette for Jacobs. I think you could get more, Jerry. I think you could get more. Fournette's got a little higher value. Maybe not. Maybe he doesn't. I like Jacobs a lot right now. I like him more than Fournette, so my answer is yes. Down deep to the core, yes. But could you get more? Just because I like, a $20 stock more than a $50 stock doesn't mean I'm going to do a straight swap. I'm going to be, creative and crafty about it. Andrews or Waller this week? I don't think I sit Waller ever right now, unless you own like Kelsey. Keep it up, bro. Good job. Thank you, Omar. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe. Why do we have like 40 to 50% new viewers every single show, and you're not punching the subscribe button to help? Help the show. Help me. Help me help you. Help me help you. That's all I'm here for, is to help you. I can't do that if you don't punch the subscribe button. Russ answered a lot of questions. I have no idea which one was yours. You keep asking Smitty if he likes your trade. I doubt Smitty remembers which one is yours. Yeah, I have no idea. You could ask me something 3 minutes later. I have no clue. No one knows what it's like to be on this side of the fence. It's not that I don't care. It's not that I'm trying to ignore you. Sam knows. Big Timer knows. They know because they took over the show for a few minutes, grabbed my phone, and when we're doing a live local meet and greet, they took over and they realized how chaotic it is. It gets chaotic, man. You got to concentrate. Breda or Williams. Breda, I guess. Mixon, Ronald Jones, or Devin Singletary. I go Singletary, baby. But trade Mixon. You can't be putting Mixon on your bench. It was Edelman and Carson for Keenan Allen and Josh Jacobs. Okay, Jack. Thank you, Jack. And again, no offense on that. It's just I literally don't remember. I probably won't even remember this if you ask me again 2 minutes from now. Be like, hey, did you like me to trade? I'd be like, what trade? It's almost like I got Alzheimer's. Yeah, I like the Jacobs. Let's see, Jacobs and Carson and Edelman. I like Jacobs and Allen. Dude, that's dead even. Jack, it's dead even. Absolutely dead even. Almost to the point where I'm like, why do it? That's how dead even this trade is. Ozzy, thanks again for the super chat. Thank all of you for the super chat. Now, I hate to do this to you. We have been on over an hour. My short shows where I feel bad are like over an hour still, so I don't feel too bad, but I felt bad leaving all of you. And if you subscribe, like and subscribe and tell your friends, I stay on longer because my show's bigger, and I put a lot of other stuff probably to bed, or I outsource it. I hire some absolute boss at statistics to start bench advice for sleeperu.com, which is my site. If you don't know about it, get on over to sleeperu.com and get some, okay? Because once we get bigger, you hit smash subscribe, smash like. We can do a daily show that's 4 hours long every single day. How's that feel? How would that be? You like that? Smitty, could you do a name game? I gotta start this over because I talked during the whole outro. The outro's about you guys. Juju, Coleman. I go Coleman for now. Ronald Jones, Todd Gurley. Probably Todd Gurley if he plays, but I don't know if he's going to play. So check with me morning show, 1 hour before kickoff, right here on youtube.com/The Fantasy Football Show. Outro music is back on. My ball sack hurts. Thumbs up, people. Bernard had a chance to ask a question, but Bernard's selfless. He said, I'm going to use my time in the spotlight to tell you all people to hit thumbs up because Bernard's a boss. Thank you, Bernard. Do I risk David Johnson? I have CMC and Singletary. Do I risk starting David Johnson over who? Singletary? Hell no! Take a lap. Take a lap. Damn, I killed the outro music. One more time. Lucky for you. I would love a 4-hour show, Bernard says. Well, St. Bernard, all you need to do is tell your friends. Tell your mom. Get your moms on here to thumb up the show and to subscribe. Smitty, could you BS with us for 4 hours a day? Dude, if I had 50,000 subscribers, let's say 100,000, damn straight I would. And I would start to turn away from some other responsibilities that I have that keep the lights on. You know what I'm saying? And this is my baby, never walking away from sleeperu.com. But it would allow me to incorporate more video into it and do this show literally. You know, a lot of the back end stuff, the emails I deal with all day, I could have some noob sitting right next to me, and we could put him on camera constantly and pick on him, and he could just answer emails all day for me. That's what we do. We call him the noob. Hold Monty if you're in Dynasty. Absolutely, Legion. Super chats keep Smitty from leaving us. That's true, Doobie. And unfortunately, I'm going to always be honest with you and bring the honesty. There's always a chance anything crumbles if it doesn't get nurtured. Nurture the show. That's all I ask is nurture the show when you can. And you could do so by telling people about it. When Smitty reads half of your questions, you get excited, then he moves on. Oh, Alex, I'm sorry. Alex, let's see. Where is it, Alex? Damn it. Alex, post it again. I'll be your guy's Smitty. Darnold or Tannehill if Mahomes doesn't play. Mahomes will play. Blasphemy, Doobie. Don't say it again. Don't say it again. I'm not going to even answer your question or entertain that thought. Mahomes practice. He's good to go. He's fully expected to play. Blasphemy. But you're my guy, Doobies. Dooba snacks. Brissett plays. I don't know. Probably not. Calling my mom now. Thank you, Bernard. Let her know. I want the whole book club subscribed by midnight. Best Buy lows. Already did that. Don't have time. Rewatch the show, Sam, but I'll tell you Adams was on it. Hopkins, if you can still get him low. Mac, Marlon Mack, name a couple for you. Sleeper U site. Is Sleeper U the site that fantasy footballers speak of? Maybe they do. They're probably talking about a few others too. People have used Sleeper U in different capacities. Sleeper. I did have Andy Holloway on the show, by the way. It's on the YouTube show. You can watch it. Alex, I'm waiting for your question. Oh, here it is. No, here it is. Alex, you said when Smitty reads half your question and then moves on. I'm still waiting. Where is it, Alex? Here it is. I was asking for a name game for DJ, kind of know the trade value. Okay, name game. I know we're running out of time, so name game for DJ. Damn it! This is the last time. Unless we get a super chat that I restart. That's the rule. Name game for David Johnson for the rest of this outro. We're going to go with, at the core, would I tell anybody? Am I going to admit this to anybody? I'd rather have David Montgomery than DJ. But I get more because I can. Aaron Jones, for sure. Nick Chubb, hell yeah. Kamara, forget about it. Kamara. Everybody above, of course. So you're looking at Aaron Jones, Chubb, Kamara. Probably Carson. Maybe Leonard Fournette. Not David Montgomery, but David Montgomery. Josh Jacobs, arguable. Derrick Henry, I worry about him too. DJ and Henry are kind of right there. So, honestly, where do I put David Johnson, being honest on my own rankings? If I couldn't make trades, I had to just start this guy all year. It's like a best ball scenario. I fear that DJ won't be there for me. So, I rank him without trading, without value. Just where do I think they'll finish? I rank him in the 11 to 13 range. He's not even in my top 10. I like Mac quietly better. Devin Singletary. Computer Bob restarted it. Look at Computer Bob. Oh, restarted it. Aaron restarted it. Just when you thought I was out, Aaron and Computer Bob pulled me back in. I'm starting to hate your outro music, says Computer Bob. Computer Bob, it's not going anywhere. I don't care how many people tell me they don't like it. And you're the first person. It's not going anywhere. That's the outro music, bro. It's locked and loaded. Thank you for the super chat. Aaron. Need two. Freeman, Williams, Rojo, Samuels. I'm assuming you mean Devonta Freeman. And if so, Devonta Freeman and Samuels. Even if Connor plays, I'd probably like those two. If it's Royce Freeman, then you're in a bind. Because Samuels is the only one I really like, but probably go Rojo given all the hype. Thank you, kind sir. What about Amari Cooper for DJ? I'd probably take Cooper, to be honest, Alex. I probably do. I wouldn't blame anybody for not, but... Doobie. The question, or Edelman and Carson for... Jacobs Allen keeps being asked by so many accounts. Smitty says it's even, but prefers Jacobs and Allen. I think it's dead even. What about Amari Cooper for DJ? I got that one. Keep Cooper. says, I think Legion, I think he's trying to get somebody for... Need new outro music. I agree, Computer Bob. What? Doobie! Blasphemy. And that's it. I'll look for new outro music. I do have this song. Before I go. Damn you guys. No, that's not it. You like this better? No? Yes? The outro music can't be something. It's got to be something like you're sailing away, you know? I like the outro music too, but who likes this one better? Both Doobie and Mikey are correct. Take a lap for getting off already. I'm not off yet. Computer Bob doesn't like it. Aaron likes it. We love Monty and Singletary in Smitty Land. Yes, we do. Crypto says... Positive says no. Okay, hold on. Huh? Thanks. Quiet down. Quiet down. Hey. Okay, I'll search for new music, but I'm not too happy. I like that music. Oh, I haven't been using that for the super chats. Damn it, I forgot. Remember when you guys didn't like the super chat music that I had?
It's time for breaking. It's time for breaking news.
I know you guys got tired of that one. All right, I'll look for new music, but I personally. There. Screen. All right, I'm out of here. Thank you guys. Appreciate all of you. Go Week 10. Go Patty Mahomes. Go Alvin Kamara. And if you super chat on my way out, I can't stop it. When I hit the button, I'll be like, no! I will answer it in the comments. I can't please anybody with music. That's the honest truth. Later.